Guys, those who are online, can you hear me?
Yes, now we can hear you.
Yeah. Sorry about the delay thing. We had some technical difficulties, so we had to fix that thing. We'll start it in a moment. Can you see the screen share? Everybody who is online?
Yeah, it's clear.
Yes. Yes, Anil.
Thank you very much. Welcome all. If everything is good, let's go ahead and start it. Before we proceed, again, apologies for the delay, the technical glitch. Hopefully, we'll be able to continue for the rest of the session today. What I will stick to for today is what we're going to do in this course, and then how this course is going to be useful for you. Those who are online, do you have this PDF? Let me share that PDF with you. That's a PDF updated to your chart window. Those who are offline can access the same PDF. In fact, everybody can access it from this location. Let me give you that location. This is the location that you can access. Offline people also, or you will be able to access this location. You have the same PDF here. All right, you can access it here. And the notes for this session, can't hear you. Mohan, you can't hear me. What about others? Can you guys hear me online?
Yes, sir.
Mohan, can you please check your earphones, or can you re-log in if that's possible? So this is a common location. You can note it down. I posted this URL also to the chart window, those who are online and those who are here offline. You want to note it down, or how is that going to happen? Some people took a snapshot of it. Let me take a snap. All right, let me just increase the size. Take a snap. The first line is the common location. All right. So that's where everything that we talk in this session, all the notes, your material, anything that I want to share with you, we usually upload it over there. You will have access to it from that location. And let's move on to our today's session. Before I get into the technicals, let me give you an introduction about myself. This course is, by the way, for especially AWS DevOps focused around and focused specifically for developers. So when we talk DevOps, we are talking the developer part of DevOps, not the operations part of DevOps. That's something that we want to be clear at the beginning itself. The focus is more on the developer aspect. The same thing, AWS also, the focus will be more on developer aspects, not on cloud architect or cloud engineer aspect. Now, to do both these things, you will require Linux. So we will be covering the required Linux so that you are good about these two things of your developer aspect. All right.
Is it only for developer aspect or?
Yeah, the focus will be more on developers. This is not an operation angle we are looking for, but these two things being a complete overlap. So everything that we talk here will also be useful for operations people. But some areas, for example, DevOps, if you see, the developer angle is what we'll focus, means, let's say SonarQube. SonarQube is a tool used for code quality check, which is more useful for the developers than the operations people. The same way, we will focus more on Jenkins pipelines, wherein we will look at the build part, Maven, that is more useful for developers than operations. So
It is
focus
not
will be
related
more.
to cloud, right?
The same way, when we come to AWS, we will focus more on the developer angle. For example, API gateway. API gateway is more tuned towards developers than operations people.
So
Something
if
like
someone is
Lambda.
working as like platform in operations, so like this course is good for such people, like if they want to switch to DevOps.
Yes, yes. This course, because we will be covering associate level content, both developers and operations will benefit the same way. But in future, if you are planning on moving to a professional level, that at that time you have to move towards operations side. If at all your career path is operations. But this course will pretty much be useful for all types of
I am expecting
entrance.
that AWS is cloud.
AWS is related to cloud. There's no other AWS.
Okay.
Cloud does not mean only operations people can handle it. Cloud is also for developers. All right.
So here we are going to learn related to cloud and developers part, right?
Yes, that's
Okay.
most focused. Yes. But as I told you, the cloud, anything that we learn in developers also, the operations people also have to learn the basics. For example, if you have EC2 or S3 or Lambda or basic cloud watch, all these things are basics that we are covering here, which means they are same for both developers and also the operations people. Now, because we need to learn these two things, Linux becomes a primary thing. Majority of these things, and also nowadays, majority of your applications are deployed to Linux servers. So the fundamental commands of Linux are really important. So we're going to learn those commands. All right. So that's three focus areas. Before we move into the three focus areas, my name is Anil. I'm a cloud architect, cloud and DevOps architect. And my specialization nowadays is towards developer experience. Means I work mostly with developers to make their tools easy to use. So I work with the entire full stack developers, Golang, then Python developers, and we give recommendations related to both DevOps and cloud. All right, on how well the developers can use these tools. So my work is mostly related to what is called developer experience. That's a word nowadays.
So here
It's
is there
developer
any
experience.
is there any like prerequisite to learn this DevOps, like before DevOps or AWS? Do we have to learn any particular language for this?
I'll come to that point. Yeah, that's a good question. Prerequisites, I'll come there in a moment.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, yeah. So I'll cover this question. So about 19 years of experience. I started as a DBA long back, somewhere in 2002, 2003. Then right now I'm an architect. So I worked as a DBA, then middleware administrator, then cloud and DevOps administrator. Then I'm a cloud architect consultant at this point of time. So the focus areas, again, here are three: Linux, then AWS, and then DevOps. Now, Linux is more like is a requirement both for DevOps and AWS. That's the reason, instead of asking you to learn Linux on your own, we've included Linux in this session itself, so that your prerequisite is covered. Apart from Linux, for you to learn DevOps and AWS, you don't really need anything else. You don't really, if you are a fresher also, you can still understand what DevOps is and what generally cloud means and what kind of tools on the cloud are available, and then how they are used by the developers and operations people. So learning AWS and DevOps in this course, the ones that we are going to cover, they don't require any additional learnings. Means there is no such thing as you have to be a Java developer already to understand DevOps, or you have to be a Linux administrator already to understand AWS. There is no such thing. But for these two things to work, you require a little bit of Linux, I would say. That Linux we are learning. Not only the basic Linux, we will also be covering some parts of Linux scripting. A Linux scripting is called bash scripting. So we will be covering that part also. This is not really necessary, but it's more like a value addition to your overall learn. All right, these are the three focus areas. In these three focus areas, we will start initially with Linux thing. Let me go to the page where we have Linux related things. I'm scrolling down. You can open that file if you are online and then work with me. So let's scroll down to the page where we have Linux. This is where Linux is. Again, our focus is, even though it says Linux for developers, this Linux is same for anybody. Even for operations people, this will apply. So we will basically see three areas in here. We'll understand what Linux is, how it is different from Windows, and how Linux is different from Unix. This is basically to give you a background of what Windows, Unix, and Linux is, and to understand if Linux is something difficult for you or you can learn it quickly. As a matter of fact, Linux can be learned as quickly as Windows. If you remember the first time you use your Windows system, maybe sometime in your intermediate or BTech, you started it probably, or 10th class. So it would take about a month for you to understand this laptop, isn't it? When did you guys start using your laptop? Intermediate, right? Most of the time, that's when we start. I think you guys at least have started watching movies on laptop, right? That's the first uses we do. So the same movie, you can watch it on a Linux system also. Just generally consider that Linux systems are used for applications. There is no such thing. Linux is also used for regular operating system. So we will understand that thing. There are some questions that are pouring in. Let me answer those
If I may
questions in
ask,
the meantime.
how much duration it will take to cover Linux, AWS, and DevOps? Like, if you tell like a rough overview.
Yeah, I'll come there, Vaibhav. Just give me a moment. Looks like I think I missed a lot of time. So a lot of questions coming in. Let me answer your questions first, then I'll go back. So send the link again to save the content. This is the link. Let me send it again. Rakesh, this is the link.
Yes.
Just have it stored somewhere. Then the next question is Jayant is asking, do you require Linux operating system to practice? Yes, Jayant, you will require Linux operating system, but you don't have to install it anyway. I will provide you access to one of the Linux servers. You can use my server, all of you, but it requires that you have an internet connectivity. You can do it along with me on the laptop, or even you can do it from your mobile also. There is a mobile app using which you can connect to a Linux server. I will give you that Linux server details. For the Linux that we are learning, these 100 commands and the bash scripting, you don't need to install anything. You have to understand, this is not a Linux administration course. We are learning basic Linux required for regular usage only. So this is not a Linux administration. So you don't have to install Linux operating system, but you will require it to practice. Time duration, this is a 4 months course, daily 1 hour to 1 hour 15 minutes. We will be covering these 3 aspects. We will start with Linux. That's what is initially required. This will take about 2 to 3 weeks for you to get a hands-on and little grip on it. Then we will move into understanding DevOps and AWS together. Then we will move, these 2 things will happen parallelly because the whole DevOps can be done on AWS also. So we will first understand a little bit of DevOps, then we will understand a little bit of AWS, then we'll go deep into AWS. The speed of this course, again, I can change it depending on how comfortable you are. So initially, the speed of this course is going to be a little slow so that everybody gets in sync, everybody understands the basics. So you don't have to really worry about going too fast. So we will be slow initially until we finish Linux, also until we finish little bit of DevOps, so that you have concrete understanding of what DevOps is and how DevOps is used by the developers. Once we get the basic idea and once we are comfortable, then we will increase the speed little bit. All right, again, only if you are comfortable. Then same thing, AWS. Initially of AWS will be little slow because you have to understand what is cloud, why this cloud is so popular at this point, and how the cloud is used by the developers and also by the operations people. All right. Once you have a little bit of hands-on and you understood everything, we will try to increase the pace till the point you are comfortable. We want to finish it within the time, the 4 months time that we are promising. But if you want me to go a little slow, that is also fine. It's all understanding between you and me. No need to worry about the speed. Next question I see here is Satyanarayana asking, can we understand DevOps without coding knowledge? Yes, DevOps has nothing to do with coding. DevOps is a concept and a set of tools. So we will be learning some tools like Git, Jenkins, Docker, and Kubernetes. Understanding these things and even getting a job in DevOps does not require you to know coding. But if you know coding, it's better. And anybody, any software engineer who can code is a better software engineer. Be it Java, be it Python or shell scripting or Terraform nowadays, or even Ansible, anything. If you can code, it's better, but there is nothing like you will get a job only if you can code. Even without coding, you can still get a job. So that is to answer your question, Satyanarayana. All right, so you don't really have to know coding. 2 years experience in Python, can I learn DevOps? Yes, all developers, irrespective of their experience, have to do DevOps. It's mandatory nowadays. Without DevOps, there is no software development. For example, if you are writing Java code or Python code, you have to put that code on github.com. This is where you put your code. All right, it has to go there. you cannot keep your code on your laptop. It will go to github.com or some other similar site. This is DevOps. So everybody has to learn DevOps, Deepak. So this, even if you are a Python developer, this DevOps will work extraordinarily well. And those who do not want to get into development side, even though we are focusing on development related AWS and DevOps, even if you want to get on to operations side, this course will actually cover the entire basics and the fundamentals really well. So I'm hoping that you will benefit a lot if you can simply stick to the course for a few days and then take your decision. All right. So the first part, Linux, we will cover about 2 to 3 weeks. So these are all your Linux
Sorry.
parts.
Hello.
Yeah, let
Hello?
me just finish it. 1 minute. I'll come to your question. So after 2 weeks, we will get into the AWS part a little bit and also DevOps part. So these are all AWS related things. For example, here this entire Lambda thing. Then the AWS CI/CD, this is the DevOps of AWS. So AWS itself has DevOps. So before we get into AWS related DevOps, we have to understand the general DevOps. All right. That's what your GitHub, Jenkins, those things are. So the DevOps part and AWS part will go mix and match kind of thing. Then this is another tool, AWS Elastic Beanstalk. This is very specific to developers. In here, we talk about Docker, which is again DevOps. So even though we have application related things, we also have DevOps related things in it. So DevOps and cloud go mix and match kind of thing. So we will be doing the same model. Then we also have the whole, the basic thing, S3. This is a storage on your cloud. So we will see how to use the storage on the cloud and then how to access it from your program. RDS, this is relational database services like your Oracle database that you learn. If you put it on AWS, how does it look like? The same way MySQL database or PostgreSQL, all of them will come under relational databases. So we will learn about 3 such databases. Apart from the 3 that I have just now mentioned, there are other databases like Aurora. Then also there are in-memory databases like Elasticsearch. And then Redis also is an in-memory. So we will talk about these things also to give you an overview. The same way, the very fundamental of any EC2 or any AWS is EC2. These are the virtual machines which are available on the cloud. So this is where, this is like a laptop on the cloud. So we will talk about those things also. So those are basically your AWS related things. Let's move on to DevOps little bit. Then I'll answer your questions in a moment. This is your whole DevOps thing. Let me give you a picture for your better understanding. What DevOps is basically and what we will be focusing on. Just a minute. This is the image for your DevOps, guys. This single image will pretty much answer all your questions. The DevOps part, the left-hand side is a developer thing, everything. And the right-hand side is what operations people configure, focus most of the times. So what we will be covering as part of DevOps and specifically towards developers is Git. Along with Git, you will also have GitHub. Jira and Confluence, we are not going to cover. They will become part of your project management. Maven is what we'll be covering. This is your build tool if you are a Java developer. Then this is Selenium for testing. We won't be covering it. JUnit, you will learn it in your Java. Jenkins, we will be covering. So these are the three things: Git, Docker, Git, Maven, and Jenkins. Apart from that, we are covering the AWS part, and then we will also be covering Kubernetes. In Kubernetes or before Kubernetes, we have to cover Docker. Without Docker, there is no Kubernetes. So we'll be covering Docker. Apart from all these things, we will also be covering Terraform. Terraform is infrastructure as a code. Basically, when you are working on AWS, you have to code a little bit. That's Terraform. If you are not comfortable with coding, that is also fine. So our DevOps basically includes these tools. To be precise, let me move to that sheet to give you a complete picture of what are the DevOps tools. So we will understand what is DevOps. We'll also try to understand what is virtualization and other stuff. And then we will be moving into these tools. GitHub, that's one important thing. We'll also see how to install Apache HTTPD server and Apache Tomcat server. HTTPD server is where you deploy your static content, your HTML files, CSS files, those things. And Apache Tomcat server is where you put your Java code, your var files and Java files. Then we will talk about Jenkins, and with Jenkins, you will have Nexus. This is where you store all your var files. All right, that's the storage. It's called an artifact repository. We'll talk about it. Then Docker. This is the containerization, especially if you are going towards microservices kind of architecture. So every microservice will be inside a Docker container. So we will see that part. Then we will be talking about Kubernetes and how it is related to microservices. All right. And then we will touch upon a little bit on Terraform. Terraform is not really required, but it's really popular nowadays. So we will reach a stage wherein you can talk about Terraform and you understand Terraform. If you cannot code Terraform, that's fine. But you should be at least able to understand what Terraform is. For DevOps tool, by then, we'll be covering most of the tools which are extremely popular at this point of time. This course tries to target two different things. One is to give you knowledge, obviously. The second thing is to get you a job. So I have included only those things which are extremely popular from an interview angle. So you go to an interview, somebody will ask you a question. Most likely, we would have covered it in our course. I have removed certain things which are not used anymore nowadays, are not really popular. One such thing is Ansible. I did not include Ansible in DevOps. Ansible is there, but not really used anymore. Instead of Ansible, I moved to the next popular stuff, Terraform. So if you spend, let's say, 10 hours to learn Ansible versus 2 hours to learn Terraform, the 2 hours of Terraform will be more useful for you than the 10 hours Ansible. So we are not going to learn anything that is outdated. You don't want to learn outdated stuff, right? You want to learn what is useful for interview. Now to give you a better perspective of that question, all of you, do you want a job or you want to become an expert at these three things? What is that you want? You guys and those who are online, you guys want a job or you want to become experts at these three things?
Already
What
working,
is that you want?
to switch to DevOps profile.
Yeah, so you want a job in DevOps or you want to become an expert at DevOps?
An expert, definitely, like after knowing the basics.
We want more salary hike. Yes, Deepak, that's
Exactly.
good. That's a spirit. You want salary hike. Job with expert. Yes, that's the pipe dream, Sufyan. Job is what we are targeting here, guys. Expertise takes time. But what I really want you to, get first is get a job, get nice money. And when you are getting money into your accounts, now you can become experts really quickly. So get some real good job that if you are already working, get a hike, nice hike. All these technologies have complete potential to give you a quick job if you are searching for a job, or a very good hike if you are switching a job and you are already working. So the concepts are the elements that I have included in this syllabus, or probably I will include during our course syllabus, are mainly focused on my current experience in taking interviews. I take interviews every day for a large number of people, right from freshers till the point of 20, 25 years also. So we are including things that are relevant to current interviews and current real-time market. So anything that I think is outdated or not being asked, I usually avoid it so that you can spend that time on learning something relevant. So the best example in this case is Terraform. And I haven't included Ansible in this. Some students asked me why we are not including Ansible or Chef. No, Chef is gone long back. Ansible also gone recently. So Terraform is what we are going to focus on. We're going to learn that. Hopefully, Terraform can get you a very good job. For Gap person, can we get a job with this? Yes, if you, this would give you about, I would say, a knowledge of about 3 to 4 years. But if you still want to go beyond 3 to 4 years, you require some hands-on. So if you can work along with me during this course, you would get about 4+. But if you are only listening, you would get about 2 to 3. All right. Yeah.
This course
If you
will
have
follow by
gap, you
some
can.
project, hand-on project we'll do at the end of this course, or like?
Not at the end of this course. During, as part of this course itself, we will be implementing these things in a project-like thing, a real-time project kind of thing. For example, if you have a Jenkins thing, when we do Jenkins, we will implement a pipeline. So that will be more towards real time. Whatever is done in real time, we will be leaning towards all real time activities. So theoretical thing, yes, we do cover theory, to the extent that you understand the concept. And once you understood the concept, it's important that you understand the hands-on part of it, how it is done in real world. So we will be focusing on both theory as well as the hands-on part. All right. So that is the course syllabus. And then the timings of this course, that's an important thing. This is going to start at 7 every day. Today, I'm extremely sorry about that late start. Ideally, it will finish anywhere between 8 and 8:15, not beyond that. And it's going to last for about 4 months. But these timings, 7 to 8:15, will be moved to 6 to 7 after 10 days, once we go halfway through the next thing. So that's something that please make a note of, both offline and online. We will be moving to 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. after 10 days. All right. So only for the next 10 days, what is today's date? Today is 19th, is it? So let's say January 1st week onwards, this session will be 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. All right. So that's one important thing. Please make a note of that thing. Please share the course syllabus PDF copy. Yes, Sambhaji, the PDF is here. I've shared that location. So let me share it again. This is the shared location where you can find everything. So the PDF is also available there. Any other content that we discuss in the classroom or any other material that I want to share with you, I will upload to this directory here, and you can directly access it. I think I already have something similar that I'm doing it for another other class. So you will see something like this for your class also. All right. So we usually use this thing, and you can access that thing directly. And any other material I'll upload to the same location. Can we cover Splunk also, as several projects are using Splunk for logs? No, Jen, Splunk we cannot really cover to the extent. Splunk is more towards operations and also not very extensively used. Yes, some people do ask for Splunk, but we really can't cover Splunk. That's not really much of a value addition. So Splunk, sorry. Nowadays, even Splunk is not used. Elk is what is used nowadays for the entire monitoring ecosystem. Elasticsearch, Logstash, and Kibana. Even Logstash is going out. EFK is what is used nowadays. Elasticsearch Fluent D it's called. So EFK, that is. Fstack it's called. This is the latest stack. So even Logstash is gone. Splunk, yeah, some companies do ask it, but not too much of a demand. Means if you learn Splunk after about 100 hours of hard work, you might not have the same opportunities that you would get for the same 100 hours of Elk hard work. So effort versus return is pretty bad for Splunk. All right. So that's I recommend even Jayant, don't go for Splunk unless you have a specific requirement. I recommend you go for Elk or EFK. Then apart from this, yeah, I think I'll stop it here, guys. I gave you the key information. So we'll be starting at 7 p.m. tomorrow. We'll start with the basics. We'll see how the pace is, how comfortable you are. Then based on your progress, we will move. EFK is the latest one, Jen. ELK is the old one. The L Logstash is replaced with Fluentd. If you need to talk to me today, you can talk to me now. Yeah, I'm I'm available on the call. You can talk to me now.
Yes, yeah. Actually, yesterday I talked to you. You told after.
Okay.
We'll talk.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Apart from this, yeah, I think I'll stop it here. We are beyond the regular time. Any questions? Any questions?
Hello. Sir,
No questions?
sorry.
Yeah, 1 minute, just hold on. Let me answer some of the questions here.
It's over or something?
No, not that. I'm coming over that. Yeah, just give me a moment.
Okay. All right.
Yes, guys. I'm back. Any questions? 7 p.m. will be better. Office will end on 6. Yeah, Deepak, 7 p.m. is better, but there's another overlap. So the first 10 days I'll have 7 to 8, then I'll have to shift to 6.
Yeah. So
Are you
in this
providing
course,
recording videos? Yes, Rajendra will be providing recording videos. Yeah, go ahead, please answer. Ask
yeah.
Sufyan. Yeah, I'm listening. Yeah.
So in this course, how depth are we covering the concepts for VPC, subnets, and its CEDAR IPs?
Basics. This is more towards an associate level AWS. So we'll be covering whatever is required at associate level AWS.
Which is sufficient for a developer, right? To
That's more than
understand.
enough. That's a lot.
Okay.
Even for developers, they don't really need to know all those VPC stuff. There is an
I'm-
operations guy who creates all those things, but yeah, basics they need to.
Yeah, I'm a
VPC,
developer already working on AWS with few resources like Lambdas, RDS.
Okay.
But when I create a few resources, I don't understand why I have to set up VPCs and their subnets,
Okay.
things
Yeah,
like
then
that.
yeah. The associate level basically covers those things. So we will be covering those things. Correct.
Okay.
You'll understand that level. Yeah. Even developer associate will have the same syllabus. So yeah, to an extent, you guys also should know it. Developers. So we'll be covering that.
Thank you.
Naga, you're asking which programming language using Python, right? Programming language is not really any specific programming language. Java or Python is good enough. So this course will apply to both. Satyanarayana, can you get my phone number? You can probably after some time. Till that time, I'm available on a daily basis on this call. Or if you want to talk to me specifically, we can set up a Google Meet or something. We can do that. We told Tomcat will be used for Java project. What should we do for Python? Python has an internal server. So when we launch your Python code, it has an internal web server so that it uses. So Tomcat Java, because Java has specifically multiple servers, whereas Python server is internal embedded server it uses. So we just have to launch a Python project using Flask. When you launch Flask, the Flask internally has a embedded server, HTTP server. Even Django has an embedded HTTP server. So you don't have to really worry about the internal server when you're working on Python. The framework will take care of it, Flask or Django. Deepak. Then Jayant is asking me, is this the first class today? A similar one was started 2 days back. Yes, Jayant, this is first class for this batch. 7 p.m. class is the first class today on. There is another batch that is going on. It's halfway through progress. Probably this batch will be, will also join the other class after a few days. There's a plan to do that. But this is the first class for this. Any WhatsApp group for this course? Mohan, I don't think there are WhatsApp groups specific to courses. I believe they have Telegram channels, but nothing specific to this group. Nothing yet. Then any other questions, guys?
Yes, Anil, I have one query.
Mhm.
But actually, I have some doubt. You are using Python or Java? Actually, I don't have much knowledge on Java. I have knowledge on Python. Is it okay or
Perfectly
you are
fine.
using?
Perfectly fine. This is not any programming language specific thing. So I'll be using Java, very basic hello world. The same way Python program also very basic hello world. So nothing specific except the Maven thing, which is specific to Java, the build tool. Nothing other than that, there is nothing specific to Java as such. Any programming language will use the same things. We will be covering multiple programming languages. Mostly I'll be covering Java, Python, and also Node. So the
Okay,
DevOps for any of these programming languages will follow the same structure. The methodologies are same. The slight tools that might change is, during the build process, there might be slight change. Means Java guys will use Maven, Python will use Python build tool, JS people will use NPM, that kind of thing.
Okay, you will be cover Python also, right? You will be cover Python.
We'll covering, we'll be covering all of them.
Okay. For Lambda, which program language you can use, right? Python.
Lambda
Python
is
also
common for anything. Whatever is your function that you write it, when you launch a Lambda function, you have to select a runtime. In that runtime selection, you will select Java or Node.js or else Python. The runtime, whatever your code is written in, the runtime you will have to select.
Okay, for all these
Lambda will
purpose,
work for Lambda will work. The concept is same for any programming language. So first you have to select the underlying runtime, and then on top of it you put your code. So during the selection of your runtime, let's say you written Python code, your runtime has to be Python runtime. So you will select it during the creation of Lambda on AWS console.
okay, that
We
means
will
he
see
will
that.
cover Python also, right? We will
Yes,
he will
yes.
cover.
Yes.
Okay, okay, sure. Thank you.
Any other questions, guys?
So Anil, here Java also, is it needed like to learn Java or Python, or like
Not necessary. Programming languages are not necessary. We will just use the basic hello world program, which is more like an English rather than a programming.
okay,
Not necessary at all.
okay, thank you.
And we will get the recording sessions, everything, right?
Yes, yes. All the sessions are recorded. They will be shared with you. All the notes that I am typing in the class will also be shared with you on the directory that I have given to you. It's in the same location. I'll also share another PDF, which is actually a more structured content. It's not the daily thing that we normally write on the class, but more structured content. That PDF also will be.
Okay, sure. And one more point, I have one query. Is it sufficient for AWS developer associate, or can we get the solution architect? Is it possible for this content?
Developer associate is what we are targeting here, because most of the students here are from a development background.
Yes.
If you are targeting cloud architect associate level, everything that we are learning here will also be there in that, but you need to focus more on cloud formation and a little bit on monitoring stuff. That operation side, you might have to focus a little more, but associate level, it doesn't really matter unless you are moving to a professional area. So this will be more than sufficient.
Okay, but solution architect, is it okay, or we can add any some other extra content for solution architect?
No, I don't think you can add. But from a certification angle, we won't cover this for certification angle. We will cover it more from a practical angle, interviews angle. Certification, there are a lot of theoretical concepts which might be asked in a certification. So if you are looking for solution architect certification, your focus will be slightly towards Hadoop related thing, big data related thing, IoT related thing. Those areas also, there are certain administrative aspects. You might look into those things. Whereas here we are focusing on developer side, like API gateways, Lambda functions, X-ray, debugging tools, that kind of. You may have to tune it a little bit if you are planning on for an architect. But the base things that we cover will be really helpful to have a very strong base on the cloud.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, okay, I understand. But solution architect here is both development and operation side. Am I right? Solution architect.
No. Solution
means-
architect is operations. Developer associate is development.
Okay.
There are two paths. One is developer associate, then solution
Yes.
architect associate. So solution architect are operations people. Developer associate is more towards development.
Okay. Okay. Got it. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions, guys? Cool. If there are no questions, that will be all for now. You're still there, Ravi? Or,
Yeah, I'm there.
You will need a
My
Google
Z
Meet.
yesterday, yes, Sufyan.
Let's get on to another. Can you join that thing? Push that.
So
Okay, go ahead and join the meet, right? I'll have to close this thing. This gets recorded. Let me close. You got that Google Meet thing?
wait, this link,
Yeah.
Google Meet. Okay, yeah, I got this.
Yeah, let's join that call.
Yeah.
We are exiting this.
Okay.
Right. That'll be all, guys.
Hi.
Hi.
Yeah. How it
Questions?
will be? Am I audible?
Yeah.
Yeah. How it will be? Actually, I was working in non-IT sector, and I want to switch now. After learning this, what are the job
When
roles
did you
I
pass
can
out?
get? Yeah, 2017.
And what was your main stream, engineering stream?
It's not engineering. It's BSc.
BSc, which one? Computer science or something?
Computer applications, but the main subject is biotechnology. But I wanted to work in IT.
So I recommend you get into cloud or Linux or DevOps, these kind of things. So yeah, that would be more faster approach rather than trying to get into a Java development, which might take a longer duration. If you are really interested in programming, you can obviously come back later, but the immediate fastest way would be to get into DevOps.
Okay. So can I have a hope like I'll be having a chance to get into IT?
Yeah, you just passed out 2017.
Yeah.
You have all the possibilities just like anybody else.
Thank you.
So yeah, perfectly the right condition. A lot of people who haven't done anything, they still get into IT. You have actual practical life experience. You can talk about anything. So technology is just 2 or 3 months journey. So you will be confident and you will be able to talk about technology also. So don't hesitate just because you are not into IT. A lot of people who are not into anything, they are getting jobs. So you are not better than them.
Because actually I'm not fit in analytical part. Like I'm not having
Doesn't
much
matter.
knowledge in
DevOps is perfectly fine.
and the coding part. It is somehow difficult for me. So
That's fine. That's why we are getting into DevOps. Not
Okay.
much coding here.
Thank you. Thank you for the suggestion.
Yep.
Yeah, Anil, one query.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, go
Okay.
ahead.
This course. Yes, sir. Yeah. This course is related to AWS developer, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, tuned towards AWS developer, but it's common. The AWS and DevOps part, the Linux part are pretty common even for operations team. So they have to also know the same things.
Okay. But
But when we normally orient it, I orient it towards developers because majority of the students who are coming from DURGASOFT are developers.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
But the the concepts that we talk, 90% that we cover is majorly common for both, because these things we are learning at the basic level. We are not really talking advanced DevOps or advanced cloud. That will be professional level. So that will be different. Right now, our target is to get about 2 to 3 years of experience, or about 4 to 5 years. So they will be same even for developers as well as operations.
Okay. Okay. That means once we once we will complete this course, then on which role we can apply, either AWS developer or DevOps, or both.
Both, I would say. You are ready for both AWS and DevOps also.
Okay. For the developers. Okay. Fine.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thanks. Thank you.
Hi Anil, this is Deepnarayan. I have an experience of 9 years in telecom domain, and I don't have any experience in IT. Can I use my experience in this coming sessions or my future?
Which part of telecom you said, right? Which part? You are a technically telecom domain expertise?
Yeah,
or-
technically RF radio frequency.
So you basically know about switches and the networking of the switches, these
Yeah.
towers and everything.
Yes, yes.
Your domain knowledge will definitely help if you, yeah, some of the companies like our Airtel, then we have Vodafone, these guys do look for specific domain knowledge, but they're looking at a high level positions like architects. Maybe not right now, it will help you at a later point of time. So, so I recommend you get into a cloud architect initially, AWS, then move into IoT.
Okay.
Your actual experience will work wonders if you move into cloud IoT.
Okay.
If you learn Linux, then you learn AWS, not DevOps. Then on AWS, move to IoT. Your experience will become an asset at that point. Your telecom experience.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Satyanarayana, you working Techam as infrastructure monitoring analyst. Is it suitable to me or cloud? Infrastructure monitoring analyst is a very common thing. You are basically a cloud engineer, Satyanarayana. So your AWS will help you in the long run. Once you move into even in Techam, there are a lot of positions that are,
Yeah, here my
internal
doubt
positions.
is, so we are completely operations side. So yeah, actually I have planned to learn AWS operations side, but here the things are going to completely developing side, right?
Not completely. AWS is nothing like operations and developers, not completely separate. So
Okay.
you can still learn it. Majority of them will be, overlapping. So I would recommend you actually go ahead and, learn it if you are comfortable, and then slowly move into the specific AWS areas.
Okay. So this is the more perfectable, I think.
Perfect, I wouldn't say, but I would say you will get enormous amount of knowledge in here compared to what you would learn outside.
Okay.
It's because of the way we teach.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah. Okay, Satyanarayana. Any other questions, guys? Anybody else?
Yeah, can you check whether we connected or not? Actually,
I think we are connected here, but I can't hear anything because I'm on this call.
okay.
The video is going on. So, any other questions, guys? All right. You're a PL SQL developer. Will this course be helpful to change company from? Yes, it'll help you move to DevOps. If you are a PL SQL developer already, you are familiar with the whole SDLC process. So you can easily move into DevOps. Rashmita.
Yeah, Anil, one more point. You are covering DevOps, right? That is on which certification we can do, right? Either Kubernetes or
Kubernetes is far away right now. That's far away. Not even there for Kubernetes certification without AWS. So don't try Kubernetes. That's complicated. This thing. Rather go for AWS certification, which will be more appropriate. You can go both for AWS Developer Associate or AWS Cloud Architect, whatever is your preference. If you are a developer, go with the Developer Associate. If you are onto support already, go with Cloud Architect Associate.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Yes, yes. But okay, if we do the DevOps certification, then we can learn more on this top of these topics, right?
Yes.
Doing
DevOps certification, there is no such thing. Nobody really
Okay.
has DevOps certification. DevOps is more like GitHub Jenkins kind of thing. A certification in DevOps comes into picture only at Kubernetes level, but that will be really fast. Don't try it now. You won't understand Kubernetes without having some experience hands-on with the regular DevOps.
Okay, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, got it. Yeah, thanks, Anil.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Hey guys, thank you very much. I'll see you tomorrow, same time, 7 o'clock. Thanks so much.
Yeah, sure, thank you.